Hello and welcome back. In this tutorial, I'm going to guide you through the data types in Python. And just to let you know, I forgot in the previous tutorial, while working in VS Code, you can install the Python extension. The Python extension comes in mostly handy in debugging and linting. Now, in terms of linting, as you can see here, it shows me this is a variable and it's got values, rubber, it's a variable rubbers and it got values in a list and these values are strings. So in order to install the extension, you'll come to the marketplace and just type Python and click on install. For me personally, it's installed. So for you, if it's an install, instead of uninstall, it's going to show install in this button. And upon clicking it, it will download the appropriate Python extensions. It again allows you to run the Python codes in the VS since it uses the Python interpreter to run your codes. So let's dive into these tutorials. Uh, for today, we are going to look at data types. So let's kick in and dive into this tutorial and data types. So let's create a new file. Let's call it data types. It's a Python file. So we are going to have a .py to at its end. So in Python, we have a number of data types. So the first type is strings. So strings basically hold text kind of data. So for example, let's say hello, I am Bradley from Brad Data Dev Hub. And I am subscribed to this channel. So basically, the whole of this is a string, and as you can see, all of these are just normal text, which can be even saved in a txt file. So what to keep in mind? This is simple. Strings, these are they represent text in Python. So the second type we have bools, or let's first look at integers. So before we look at integers, so strings are normally denoted by str and integers are normally denoted by int. So integers are basically whole numbers just any kind of whole number, 1, 2, 5, 6, can be in tens, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, millions, billions. It doesn't matter as long as it's a string, it's an integer. There's no specification of what kind it should be. As long as it's a whole number. So the third type that we got is a float. Float are basically they kind of represent the decimal, but we have a decimal module in Python that holds the decimal function. But for the float, it's mostly used and more common that we're going to use more than the decimal module. But the decimal module is more accurate than the float. So if we have 7.8, now this is a float that we've got. It's not a whole number, it's like a decimal. Though there's a decimal module in Python, we only use it for specific purposes. Don't worry, we'll look at it at much further tutorials. But what to keep in mind is that the decimals that we're going to use are going to be classified as floats, and then from floats we have the boolean. So boolean, there are two. We have the true and the false. So these they are basically based on logic, whether something is true or false. They are mostly referred to as bool, whether bool or boolean, or however you want to call them. It's okay. Just keep in mind that they are two and they're based on logic, whether something or a condition is true or false. Then from here we have the binary. Now for the binary, we are going to touch on it on further more tutorials while looking on the file IO. They basically deal with byte arrays. So in terms of binary, this is going it comes in much more handy when dealing with files such as images, uh, especially when handling tasks such as web scraping. It really comes in handy in handling files such as images. Don't worry, we'll look at this at further more tutorials that will come in future. But just keep in mind, binary they're mostly used while handling files. Uh, so since we know the different types of data types, we can now assign them to variables. I covered variables in the previous video. In case you've not checked it out yet, I'll leave a link so that you can check it out and build your foundational skills on variables. So let's begin with the first one. Let's call the first one greetings, and then in Python a space is required before an a variable and before a value. This is just meant to keep your code clean. So I'll just copy this and paste it right here. Now for the integers, let's call them numbers. Um, for the float, let's let's call it point or GPA. Then for the boolean, let's call it subscription, of which I believe it should be true if you're watching this video. If not yet, make sure to give a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button in order to align with the subscription status that you're going to have. So with this, we have all our data types assigned to variables which are in blue. By this, we can use them anyhowly. You can use the print function or in another way that you want. I've covered the print function previously, but just to take a look on it and test on our variables, let me print out one statement, no, one variable. So when I run it, mm, I'm getting an error, unexpected indent. So here it is. This is our text. which is basically a string that we copied and assigned it to the greetings variable. And so to add on that, we have the type function in Python, which you can use to validate the type of a variable that you have. Let me clear my terminal. And so we are going to use the type function to type the kind of value that you have in the greetings variable. And so here it is. It tells us that it's a string. Let's use another one. Let's say GPA. And here it tells us that it's a float. Let's do numbers and then subscription. Mm, numbers. A tuple. It's telling us that it's a tuple, but wait. We've got commas. Let me get rid of this. Now a comma basically sets it to a tuple. In terms of dictionaries, tuples, and lists, we're going to look on that at one coming tutorial. With that, we come towards the end of this tutorial. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe button so that you may get updated on any video that is going to arise and build on your skills. You have some nice time and let's meet in the next tutorial.